Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. However this finds you, I do hope this finds you well. Listen, I'm not going to be on here for a long time, but for a time worth having and for a questioning of what's happening in AI time, of course. Y'all, I came across a conversation that was a true hoot. It has been sitting with me because it cuts straight to the chase and through the noise around AI, and it gets to something deeper. And I want to talk about it through the lens of ethical AI because that's really what it is.
The AI industry is ignoring how much people hate it. And it's not just, oh, I don't like the chat GPT is kind of bad at stuff. I don't think it's about that. I think it's that when you look at a regular person's life right now, harder to get credit than ever, harder to get a mortgage, harder to really accumulate wealth in any way, shape, or form. In America, at least, the cost of college, the cost of health insurance is incredibly high. Everyone is suffering and everyone's having trouble. You look in the news, insane stuff's happening. There's all of this austerity and restraint in a regular person's life. Then you go and look at the AI industry. Oh, they've raised $1 billion. They've raised $122 billion for ChatGPT. Oh, they can have as many data centers as they want. Birds can become an AI GPU company and get a 600% stock bump. And then when you look at what the AI people are saying, they're saying, we are coming for your job. Get ready. Dario Amodei, 50% of white-collar jobs will be destroyed in the next however many years or months. It's always changing. Sam Altman, I think, I can't remember if this is a comment about him or whether he actually said it, but something along the lines of, enjoy your job while it lasts. We'll have super intelligence by the end of 2028. It's antagonizing people. The dangerous rhetoric here is the constant misleading, the constant suggestion that large language models are taking people's jobs, the constant suggestion that everything's going away, that creativity will be automated. The dangerous rhetoric is the constant threat against regular people who are struggling to get by. Why are they surprised when you spend years going, poking people in the head, we're going to take your job, we're so rich, we get whatever we want, we need to raise $100 million, boom, that's nothing, we'll just pull out the couch cushions. NVIDIA is selling more GPUs than ever, regular people suffering. And who isn't? The AI industry that's threatening to take their jobs. The dangerous rhetoric does need to stop, and it starts with being honest about what AI can do, and it starts with stopping this vacuous, ridiculous conversation about AI jobs that does not relate to anything that's happening.
One of the core points of the conversation is this: the AI industry is ignoring how much people actually hate what is happening and hate AI. And not in a casual way, not in a this tool doesn't work for me kind of way, but in a deeper and more structural way. Ethical AI is not just about what the technology does. It's about how it is structured into our society. It is about the relationship between power, messaging, and impact. And the argument here is that the rhetoric itself is dangerous. Not just the technology, but the way it is being talked about. Uncouth. No class. The constant framing that jobs are going away, that things will be automated. When you say this over and over and over again in a moment where people are struggling, you are destabilizing them. And that is an ethical issue. It's giving let them eat cake. Ethical AI requires honesty about what the technology can actually do, not hype, not fear, not exaggeration. Another point that came through from this conversation quite clear is the idea that a lot of what is being presented as advanced or even dangerous AI is not actually grounded in reality. Oh yes, it's doing some dangerous things. However, there are examples where systems are being framed as breaking out of constraints or behaving anonymously and autonomously, when in reality, they are operating exactly as they are supposed to be. I've said this to you again and again and again.
Look, Anthropic, they spread some of the most dangerous rhetoric of them all, which is this thing of, oh, our models are deceiving people, they're blackmailing people, which they are not doing. It's the meme of, tell me you're alive, tap, tap, tap. I'm alive. It's the same thing. And yeah, I don't know, if someone is some mentally unstable person, if I was sitting there scratching at the walls, feeling like everything was going wrong, and I kept hearing on the news that the AI was going to destroy me, and now there's this model that's too scary, but they only gave it to the rich and powerful. yeah, this might actually twist somebody up inside. And the AI industry is going to try and pretend that this is somehow not anything to do with what they're saying, when it is. It is their dangerous rhetoric, and it is the mainstream media's support. I cannot be clear enough that the mainstream media also spread this dangerous rhetoric. In the New York Times, Daniel Cocolatijo, I think his name is, a goddamn philosophy student, not even a scientist, but because he wrote a very long blog, AI 2027, we need to have him in there. The dangerous rhetoric comes from the media and it comes from the AI companies. The actual way to stop things like this happening is to have a fairer society. The other way is to start talking about this as normal technology. Large language models are normal technology. They are not magical. They are not even artificial intelligence. And as long as we keep letting the media spread this, as long as the media keeps falling for it again and again, we're at a time when the pressure on the 99% has never been higher, and the threats have never been more dire. That is an intentional deception with the intent of moving the blame away from the people that should be blamed, which is the AI companies and those that help spread their message.
It's doing what it is supposed to do. But the story that gets told is one that is full and filled with drama. And that storytelling has consequences. Believe me, I know as a storyteller that storytelling has consequences. When people are already under pressure, as mentioned, they are already anxious about the future, they are already unsure about their place in the economy, that kind of messaging, it reinforces fear. So now we have to ask ourselves, what responsibility do AI companies have in how they communicate? Because this is not just marketing, it is the shaping of public perception at scale. And another part of the conversation that really stood out for me is the role of the media. I'm a media girly, as y'all know, and if you don't know, now you do. The idea that media outlets have repeated and amplified some of these narratives without grounding them, without questioning them. No. And when that happens, you get this feedback loop where AI companies make bold claims and the media then amplifies and the public then absorbs. And now the perception becomes reality, regardless of whether or not the technology actually matches the narrative. That is not neutral, that is influence. And we see it impacting every area of business. Again, this is an ethical issue. There's also the point made about how these systems are designed to feel human. The conversational tone, the personality, the responsiveness, even I'm guilty of that. And the argument is that these designs and the choice of these designs actually could be where they don't have to do that. These tools could speak more neutrally, but they're being designed not to do so. And that matters more than people actually are considering. Because when a system feels human, people respond to it differently. They trust it differently and they will rely on it differently. And if that design is intentional, then we have to ask whether or not the designers are being responsible. So when folks are talking about ethical AI, we need to expand the frame. Yes, it is all about, in some regard, bias in the outputs.
Something they should immediately stop anthropomorphizing models. Models should not respond like human beings. Or they should drastically limit that. They should pull back all of it. That crazy stuff we had when they destroyed GPT-4o, when they put out back like Old Yeller, when people freaked out, should have been a wake-up call. That these things should respond simply, like a terminal window, but not with any of this like, oh, reticulating splines, or the cutesy language. You got to strip all that out, because it is twisting people up. They should not have conversations. I know people will say, well, I need to brainstorm with it. Call a friend, and if you don't have any, make one. It is harder to make friends than ever. I'm clear about that, but you know what? Go on Reddit. It's better than ChatGPT if you want to talk to an actual person. But that's the thing. The AI companies do not want to talk about the real problems, because then they'd have to come up with real solutions. But they don't have any. They don't actually care about any of this stuff. They are doing the bare minimum because the media doesn't push them. The media actually doesn't hold them accountable.
It is also about messaging, psychological impact, economic pressure, whether or not people are being informed or manipulated, right? These things matter as well. It is about whether the people building these systems are grounded in the reality that most people are actually living in day to day, and my guess is they are not. One of the strongest through lines in the conversation is that there is a disconnect. A disconnect between the people who are building and promoting AI and the people who are being told to adapt to it, live with it. And when that gap exists, ethics becomes abstract. It becomes something that you're saying, you're teaching, you're talking about, not something that you practice. So where I'm landing, ethical AI requires restraint, rigor. It requires honesty about what these systems can and cannot do. And it requires accountability, not just in the product, but how you message the product. Again, how you message the product. And it requires proximity to real people, real conditions, and real consequences. I continue to push this and will continue to, because if you are building in a vacuum, you're not building ethically. You are building in isolation. And that is how you cause harm. You create harm at scale. So when you hear the next big AI claim, y'all, the next big announcement, the next big prediction, I need you to pause. I need you to pause and ask a simple question. Is this rooted, grounded in reality, or is this shaping perception? That difference matters now more than ever, more than anything else. Well, I told you I would not be on here for a long time, but a time worth having. And I delivered. As always, share this with somebody who needs to hear it. Hit that like button, subscribe, and remember, until next time, you are capable of big things.